Pelicans have repeatedly stressed to Zion Williamson that his diet and conditioning need to improve, but the former #1 pick doesn't listen.
Oh, no.
He looks fat. He looks fat.
He's not in shape. He doesn't run. He plays the game strictly on talent.
I saw a belly. A belly.
Zion Williamson has not bought into his own career yet.
You mentioned that you guys like to have fun. Have you thought at all about how you're going to celebrate if you're able to pull this off?
Man.
What's so funny? I don't get it.
What are you expecting from Zion tonight?
I would like Zion to say tonight, listen, I know LeBron's here, I know AD is here, but Vegas belongs to me tonight. I want him to go out and get 40.
So we got this Pelicans-Lakers this season tournament game.
Basket. He is 2-2, his first three. And
Oh my goodness. Seeing this live, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And the amount of space that LeBron was giving him, he was treating him like he wasn't shooting 34% from the three-point line for his career. Almost like he has no confidence in his shot. Like, what's going on here?
This is the matchup that everybody in the NBA wants to see. Zion go at LeBron.
What we saw instead, though, was LeBron controlling the game and Zion Williamson scoring only 13 points, 6 of which were in the first quarter.
Other way, D'Angelo Russell. His numbers are good, slicing right by Zion for 2.
Here's a moment earlier in the game where Zion is just out here passing it and just walking around, diddling, daddling, not even going up for the rebound. Just like, oh, whatever. He has this laissez-faire attitude about it all. I mean, this is an in-season tournament game for crying out loud.
He's only missed a couple games this season after having season after season the start of his career injured. But when he plays, things are...
Zion Williamson went to the free throw line. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw a belly. A belly. Like when he took a deep breath, his belly bounced. That kind of belly.
Oh, come on now. That's a low blow, even from you, Stephen A. You got to be better than that. Even Zion said it himself. He struggles with this stuff back in the offseason a couple months ago. I mean...
Is it hard to diet at your age?
Sheesh.
Be honest.
Since it's you, I'll be real. There are times when I will say that, man, that shit hard. It's hard, man. Like,
and he had a very hectic offseason. I mean, he was dealing with stuff off the court that was like, you know, a bit scandalous, you know, with the star and whatnot. But you also had him potentially being traded from the Pelicans. There was talks of him potentially being traded.
This man in his new contract extension that he just signed, almost $200 million, there's a weight clause in it that he has to be under 295 pounds. A weight clause in your contract. That says that your team doesn't trust you to stay in shape. So for them, they have exhausted all options. It's time for them to move on from Zion Williamson because he hasn't shown them that he is dedicated to them like they have been to him.
I can't blame either side here. Zion struggling with this. He knows this, and he's even admitted to it, and he's tried working towards it, and he looked slim during the summer. Pelicans had to do what they did.
You look like you showed up to the game having just ate a buffet. Not something from the buffet. I said the buffet. Like you ate the damn table.
And I mean, these talks didn't just come out of nowhere, right? Since January 2nd of that year, he did not play a game because he was hurt with a hamstring injury. And of course, Zion, you could see him here practicing before the playing game, dunking as well. And he said this.
How close are you to feeling like you'll be ready to play?
I mean, physically, I'm fine. Now it's just a matter of, like, when I feel like Zion.
What makes this weirder is that Zion wasn't even cleared to practice with the team. So him saying this made it sound like he was going to be able to play, but it's just, you know, mentally he wasn't there. No. What the hell does this mean?
I saw a belly. Like Austin Powers, fat bastard. Like, get in my belly. That's what I saw.
It could also be that the medical staff are warning him and telling him not to play because, oh, they're scared that the $40 million player that they're paying to play is going to get hurt in this playing game.
For those people that think that I just want to sit on the sideline just to sit over there, I don't know why people think that. But nah, it sucks. I just want to be playing basketball for real. Whether people want to believe it or not, when I'm on the sideline, man, that hurt me more than anything. I just want to hoop.
And it was a great sign seeing him in media day, just being cheerful about the whole thing and saying that, you know, things are about to get spicy with him this season.
I think the best is still yet to come. Spent a lot of time in New Orleans this offseason, working with the Pelicans, and like I said, my personal trainers, and you know, we made a lot of changes, and gonna see when the season starts.
And now you just feel stupid for even believing the hype. You're looking at him in the in-season tournament. You're supposed to show up. This is a playoff atmosphere. This is supposed to be the time for you to shine.
And Mr. Wilbon, you said that this was the most important game of his career last night. He hasn't played in a playoff game. This is the big one, the stakes, and he fell significantly short. When you look at him and his performance, what did you make of it last night?
I was disappointed, and overall, I've been disappointed in Zion this season.
Now, I do want to touch up on J.J. Redick because when C.J. McCollum got traded to the Pelicans and there was this whole drama of Zion didn't pick up the phone when C.J. came in, J.J. Redick called him a detached teammate at that point and aired him out. And it's funny because he was a teammate of Zion in his first season.
And look, we can certainly point to counting stats and say he's having a fine season. But you can be in the building, you can watch on TV, you can be courtside, and you can see he's not in shape.
And the thing is with Zion, I just think it's the hype as well that adds to this, that makes it so much worse for him. Ever since his Duke days, the hype around him has just been insane, and we're still seeing it this year. Like, it's insane.
MVP. He's gonna be in the MVP race.
No way.
Think he can be in the MVP?
Miami.
If he's winning,
And the problem with Zion has been on full display since he was a college student at Duke. I mean, at one point, this dude was weighing 272 pounds. Okay, he was heavier than Charles Barkley was. As a matter of fact, he was heavier, 5 less pounds heavy than Boban Marjanovic. The guy was weighing the most in the NBA at the time. And at that point, Zion was 18 years old. It's ridiculous. It's just insane. This dude gained so much weight in college. And of course, that's a problem that we're still seeing today.
And I think that's where Zion has a chance to be really special in closing lineups.
Sir.
Maybe you start him at the 4, move him to the 5, kind of like that death lineup we've seen.
And back then, the things that were said, this guy could be a center in closing lineups. What? What are we talking about? Zion at the 5? We know now how laughable of a take that is. Look at how he walks, even back when he was drafted. This dude always had a funny walk. He waddled like a penguin, and that was always a bit of a controversy with Zion. You could see him here walking to AD, and people were questioning why the hell he walks like this. You could see here his knees go inward, and knowing the style of play that Zion plays with, that's a bit of a concern. Even back then, people saw that, yeah, this could potentially end poorly for Zion in his career.
I don't think I've ever been more worried about a basketball player getting injured when I watch them play than I am when I see Zion Williamson step on the court. It's one of the highest risk factors for an ACL tear, particularly if we see this knee collapse inward whenever someone's landing.
Brian Stutterer here did a great job making this video. This was before Zion even played his first NBA game. Talked about how in his freshman year in high school, he was weighing 175 pounds. And then 4 years later, as a Duke freshman, he only grew 4 inches but weighed 100 more pounds. And we saw in full display how that weight affected him.
His shoe blew apart. I've never seen anything like that.
What went wrong? We took the same sneaker, the Nike PG 2.5, to sneaker expert Jeff Esquillo.
And it doesn't take a sneaker expert to realize that Zion's weight was part of the reason that happened. And you could say, oh, Nike's, shoes have done this in the past. You even saw it with Zion's own Jordan shoe as well. Look, the weight obviously had an effect.
When Zion puts on that much weight in that short of a time period, the rest of the soft tissues around his joints are not yet strong enough to support that load and put you at higher risk of injury. I'd be most worried about injuries to his ankle and to his knees, just based on what we've discussed.
And at this point, it was preseason time, and he was playing basketball games. Stephen A. was warning against that.
I like what I'm seeing, but I do get scared of him being on the court. Make sure you don't overwork him. Get just enough work in for him to break a sweat and stay in condition, and then get him the hell out of there so he can be available for the games that count.
And perhaps the Pelicans should have heeded those warnings, as now Zion Williamson in a preseason game against the Spurs injures his knee, and now is going to miss quite some time.
It's believed he injured his knee during the Pelicans' preseason game against the Spurs on Sunday, but luckily it's not severe. He should be back within weeks. The Pelicans take on Toronto.
But unfortunately, the injury seemed to be more severe as he required to get surgery on it.
Zion will miss 6 to 8 weeks after getting surgery to address a meniscus tear in his right knee.
So now you have a player that struggled with weight. You also have a player that struggled with injuries throughout his college career. Now you have a player that is not going to play his first couple games because of injuries.
He gains muscle mass so fast and gains weight so fast,
no one's ever dealt with anybody like him before. So he's 19. It's going to be a learning experience for all of us. But the notion that this happened somehow because Zion's in poor condition is just asinine.
And people, look, they're not saying that Zion is injured because he's out of shape or he's just, the conditioning is out there. No. Tracy McGrady here says otherwise.
Well, I don't think he was injured because he's out of shape. I think he's in great shape, but I think he's too big.
280 pounds, jumping 45 inches off the ground, landing on somebody's foot. That's something that you don't want to see, but can happen.
At the time, people still thought he could potentially be generational. Only thing is, there are red flags.
I think 280, playing at 280, the style of play that he plays is entirely too big to sustain that for 82 games. This is what can happen to him.
To me, I think Zion Williamson is going to have to change his body type. He doesn't have to lose 25 pounds because it's mostly muscle at 19 years old, but he's got to change his body type a little bit to handle the rigors.
But since then, we're less certain about Zion reaching even close to his potential. Okay, that little snippet from Stephen A. Smith was actually not from 2019. It was from this year. It was from this preseason. It's a broken record. Zion has gone through more body transformations than Naruto himself. I'm telling you, this guy has come from fat to slim to fat again, and right now we're on the fat arc.
Only two players in the NBA heavier than him are Boban and Taco Fall.
And most embarrassingly yet, Zion's walk gait. Yes, apparently this was a thing where the Pelicans were trying to teach Zion how to walk and run properly.
The Pelicans are teaching Zion how to
run and walk.
Okay, that's how you walk. You put one foot in front of the other. That's how you walk. Okay, twinkle toes, I see you.
And after going through all that, I can't blame people for tuning out Zion this season. I mean, this guy has gone through so much bullshit, and it's like, the hype is done. We don't care.
Rob, he's playing.
I forgot he was in the league, to be honest. I hear so little about him.
To your point, Rob, we don't hear much. There's not any buzz about Zion anymore. He's 23 years old, and there is no buzz.
Not just that, Zion doesn't seem as invested in his career as, say, his fans are.
My teammates called me up. They felt like I wasn't going as hard. So I told them I'll be there for him. I wanted to come out and check the tone.
And this just further raises eyebrows. I mean, what in the world is Zion doing?
For me, it says that Zion's not ready. The fact that Zion has to be told this means that he's not quite ready to be that leader.
In October of this year, he said the best was yet to come. In November of this year, he's looking dejected.
Last year, I guess, how do you feel just where you are right now?
Like I said last year, we had a team meeting, and it was brought up some things that I could do better, especially like with buying into the program. And right now it's tough right now, but like I said, right now I'm taking a little back seat right now, and I'm trusting the process. I'm trying my best to buy in right now.
Is he out here gasping for breath? What the hell did he just come out of? Was he running suicides for the first time ever? I mean, Stephen A. might be telling the truth here.
You got chefs in New Orleans. I'm not exaggerating. I'm quoting people. You got chefs in New Orleans who love him. They're looking for him. Every chef there wants to meet him because they know he'll show up to their restaurant. The word out on Zion Williamson is that he'll eat the table. I'm quoting. He'll eat the table. What in the hell is going on with Zion Williamson?
There has just been so much bad press about Zion in the last couple months. Not just that, in the last couple of years, and it's really just sad.
Rob G, how much have you heard about Zion? Are we being?
It's all negative,
disingenuous, right?
The last 3 years, it's him being hurt. It's guys like C.J. McCollum, taking veiled shots at him through the media about him not being committed to the offseason program and being in shape.
I would say availability is important, man. We got to be available. We got to do what we need to do, off the court, in terms of preparation, in terms of getting treatment, in terms of getting the right sleep, the right type of hydration, having the right type of diet. I mean, everything has to matter to us, for everybody, 1 through 15.
It's reports in publication like The Ringer that say him and David Griffin just don't get along and that they have a rocky relationship. So everything that's come out about Zion, basically since his rookie season has been negative.
And I'm not kidding. Y'all remember those pictures of Zion when he looked so fat? It was the angles, but then you also see him work out pregame, and he looks just as fat, if not fatter.
What do he look like, Chuck?
Like me and you had a baby. God dang.
What is up with you, man? Chuck said they act like they ain't got no food in Portland.
And it's interesting seeing how Shaq responded, to Zion and what he's seen recently, during the in-season tournament.
It's not a diss. It's going to be a lesson from one great big man to another guy that could be a great man. Just not run hard. I had the same problem my first, second year. I thought I was running hard. He doesn't create easy points for himself. He doesn't demand the ball. Like, you got a small guy, and we talk about all the time, barbecue chicken alert, and he doesn't have that look. Like, Tiger Woods had that look. Jack Nicholson had that look.
And I think on multiple occasions we heard Chuck talk about his story in his career, how Moses Malone was a big mentor of his when he was in the Philadelphia 76ers, and how, he guided him.
Earlier this season, he had a press conference where he was talking about trying to buy into what the team wanted. And the reality is Zion Williamson has not bought into his own career yet.
And people would tell me after the game against the Timberwolves that, oh, he's back, guys. Y'all were just slandering him too much. Look at Zion. He's over there dominating the best defense in the league. Look at him going at Gobert and Towns at the same time.
Heck of a finish by Zion over Rudy Gobert.
And I got to give it to him. He had a great showing. 36 points, season high on 13 of 17 shooting. Just one thing I need to clarify here. I know this is a great defense, but why couldn't he do this against a way worse defense in the NCAA tournament? He had 10 points on 8 shots, 5 of 8. Where was this during this NCAA tournament? You could have definitely used that.
Do you think what Barkley and Shaq said last week, do you view that as a legitimate critique?
And what exactly did they say?
I mean, essentially it was both those guys said we struggled with some conditioning stuff early in our career, and that got better, and we see that in his game a little bit too.
If it comes from a great place and a place where they just want to see me do better, thank you. But if it comes from anywhere else, everybody entitled to their own opinion. Can't control that.
And of course, Zion here, he answered the question the way any person would try to answer, in a charitable manner. He's trying to be charitable to either side that's criticizing him, but also saying, look, I can't really control what others say. But even with him having a great game here, look at how he sprains his ankle right here. With the style of play he has, even in his great games, you see the problem with Zion's play style. And I bet you won't see that 36 points for a long time now.
You still, and I said yesterday, and I'm going to take back what I said yesterday, that Zion loves basketball. No, he doesn't. Because when you love something, you do everything you can. You cherish it, and you try to nurture it, and you try to get it to grow.
Now, I've said this last year, and I'm going to say it again. Greeny, I've heard multiple people around the organization, not saying names, talk about they question whether Zion really loves the game.
Zion has not got his butt in shape, and he has not done what he needed to do with his conditioning or his eating habits. So it's on him. If he has a short career, he has no one to blame but himself.
And if things keep going the way they are right now, the media shenanigans will keep on going. The rants will keep on spraying. Everyone will keep on making fun of Zion like they did Ben Simmons.
And as far as playing with Kyrie and KD, how do you think what you do accentuates what they already do on the floor well?
I think it's going to be scary. Having those guys run alongside me.
At rehab from the back injury. And this is a real injury, Perk. I know we were talking about this the other day on set, and you were, what's going on? He has a real injury here, and this is something that he's dealt with over the course of his career. It's flared up.
Give and go. Simmons, it's an air ball. Ben and TJ end up having some knee soreness. TJ, sorry. Knee contusion for TJ. Ben was knee soreness.
And now, sadly, Ben Simmons has a nerve impingement in the lower left side of his back, and so now he can't play. Yeah, hopefully Zion doesn't end up like this, and hopefully JJ Redick gives Zion the platform for him to explain himself here, okay? Like he did with Ben Simmons. I wonder why he's not doing that. Now, James Harden also, there's a problem with him. You seen him just being lackadaisical because he wants to leave. He did it in Houston. He did it in Brooklyn. He just doesn't care. to give effort out there once he wants to leave. He's going to quit on the team, hoping that he gets traded. And 3 times now he got his way to where now he's in LA and he's like, I am the system. And hopefully Zion doesn't become the latest prima donna in the NBA, because it never seemed to me like he wanted to be a Pelican.
What was it like to finally get to play in the Garden in the pros?
I'm glad you asked that, actually. New York is the mecca of basketball. I love playing here. Honestly, I think outside of New Orleans, obviously, I think this might be my favorite place to play.
The thing is, Zion can rewrite this whole script and flip it on its head and become the player that delivers New Orleans their first ever championship. But when we see stuff like this where he's not performing when it matters, whilst he's performing against those Timberwolves in a regular season game, I'm just worried that he doesn't flip that switch in the playoffs, right?
You're the starting power forward on the team, and you have the defensive rebounding rate of a guard, as demonstrated right there. These are dudes who have the same defensive rebounding rate as Zion Williamson, who is a tank.
And Zion just doesn't seem to want to give that effort, right? You see it here with the stat. I mean, this is embarrassing. Quite frankly, the teammates, his coaches, they see this.
When he walks in the tunnel, let's see if it's going to have the same turn up in media day. And my little G, Jose ain't trying to. Nah, it's a little.
I'm just sick and tired of seeing him look jacked in one video and then look fat in another, okay? That pisses me off, because it's like, Zion, you could do better than this. We've seen you do better. And it's like Anthony Davis. People will say, oh, it's just like Anthony Davis with the injuries, right? You got to give Zion time to heal up and recover. Anthony Davis has had a better career in the Pelicans than Zion has had. Okay, don't give me that excuse. Don't even compare him to AD. Zion still has to show us that he could be that lead franchise player and that he could be a reliable first option come playoff time. He hasn't shown that, right? He hasn't shown that, partly due to his injury, but also partly due to his poor conditioning now. It's really sad, but it just is what it is. That just has to be called out. Now, if you like this video, please do subscribe. It would help me a ton. And obviously, I got way more videos that's already in the backlog if you're new to this channel. Okay, I got 2-hour videos about Ben Simmons. I got 2-hour videos about Embiid, James Harden, Doc Rivers choking. I got a 4-hour video about Nikola Jokic winning a championship and his story. I got a almost 5-hour video about Ja Morant and his career, a retrospective for his career. Yeah, I got tons of stuff, and there's more coming soon.